Welcome back everyone to our How to Make a Mini Games game series. This is part 3, so if you haven't seen part 1 or 2, make sure to go see those. I'll put the link to those videos in the description so you'll be able to find them there. For this episode, we're going to be making some leader stats that will keep track of how many wins the players have, and we're also going to work on data stores so it'll save. And we're also going to make a GUI that will display how much wins the players have. We're also going to be making a new mini game, which players will have to avoid choosing the color that the game chooses, and anyone who chooses the same color as the game, they'll fall into lava, and it'll keep doing that for about like 5 rounds, and then whoever's left is the winners. So I'm first gonna make some leader stats for our game, and I'm going to add a script into server script service, and I'm gonna call it leader stats. So what we have right here is we have the players service, and next we have the data store service. And because we're using the data store service, you're going to need to make sure that your game is published, and that under game settings you can go to security and enable access to API services, because if you don't have this enabled, then when you run your game, your leader stat script will get an error. So make sure that's enabled. And next line of code, we have the wins data store, and I just put a -0 because if I ever want to change the data store, so if I ever want to reset the data, then I can just change this number right here, but you could get rid of this if you want. And then we have our player added event. So when a player joins, they will be given a leader stats folder, and it must be named leader stats with the L being lowercase if you want it to show up on the Roblox leader stats. And then we have our win stat, which is just a number value called wins. So we'll actually be able to keep track of who has wins. I'm actually going to go test it out right now. If we load in, you can see that we have wins that's equal to 0. But now I want to load the data if any data exists. So let me write that out real quick. So right here, we first get the data from our data store using the player user ID. So if there is any data, then it will return whatever data we saved. If there is no data, then we'll just skip along. But if there is data, then we just want to update the win stat value to whatever data was saved. So now that our data will load, that's pretty cool, but we don't actually save data when the player leaves. So I'm first going to make a function called save data. So right here for our save data function, we first get the current amount of wins that they have, and then we save it to the data store using our player user ID and then the actual value that we want to save. So now I'm actually going to use this function. So first, when a player leaves, I want this function to run, and also when the game is about to close and the server's shutting down, I want it to run on all the players, just so no data will get lost. So anytime a player now leaves the game, we run the save data function on them, and while our game is shutting down, we go through each player and we save their data too, just in case this function doesn't run. So now that our data saves and loads, we actually need to increase the value of wins anytime they win a game. So I'm quickly just going to go into our mini games and our lava rising script, and all the way down here, when we declare who the winners are, I'm just going to change it up a bit so we also increase the amount of wins the players have. So right here, all that I've changed is I changed this player variable to player char, because that's actually what it is, and it might get confusing if we have 2 variables named player. And then I make the real player variable, which is equal to the player model, using get player from character and then giving it the player character. Then I go into the player and I update its wins value by 1, and then we do what we normally do and add their name to the end winning text. So now if we want to go, we can play our game and we can wait for the game to start, and once we win the game, we'll increase our wins by 1, and we will be able to leave the game and rejoin and still have those wins. So game is about to end. We are at the top, and the winners are Cozy Coin, which is me, and our wins has increased. Now, the cool part, when we leave and when we rejoin, our wins should remain. There we go. And now with our leader stats saving, I'm going to make our own GUI to display how much wins we have. And to do that, just go to the link in the description and grab the wins GUI model and put that into the starter GUI. And so if you want to use your own, you can. I just made one real quick and I think it looks fine. But if you want your game to be a little more custom, feel free to use your own. And inside this stats screen GUI, add a local script and just call it stats updater. So this is our entire script right here. All we do is we get the local player and their leader stats. We also get a few variables, which one of them is referencing to our wins label, which is this right here. And then we have a function called update wins, which gets the current value of the wins that we have and then updates the text to whatever that value is. We run this function to make sure that everything is up to date, and then to continue updating it anytime it changes, I use get property change signal on the wins value in the player's leader stats, and then just connect it to our update wins function. So now, if we want to play our game again, and this time, if we want to win, you'll see that it changes mid-game, and also you can see that it's currently displaying the amount of wins we have. So the game's almost ending, and once we are rewarded our win, you'll see that the GUI will also update when the Roblox leaderboard updates. So now to make our new minigame, I'm first going to go to our minigames folder and take out Lava Rising. So when the game is choosing a minigame, it won't accidentally pick Lava Rising while we're trying to test our new minigame. But with that, I'm going to add a module script into our minigames folder, and I'm just going to call it Crazy Colors, but name it what you would like. And then I'm just going to change this to minigame. So before we can start scripting our minigame, I first need to make the game model for it, so players will actually be able to avoid the colors and all the other things that in our game. So this is our completed game model. Firstly, we have the kill part, which I just called lava, and then we have this roof, which isn't really necessary, but then we have this divider, which will be used for when the game is choosing what color is going to be eliminated. I'm going to put these walls down so no players can switch their decision once they see the color change, and then it'll just move back up again once players are able to choose again. And then I also have just a group called colors, which has each of these color parts. And for the divider, I just made sure to anchor the base, which I just called this the base. And this is also the part that will display which color has been chosen. And then these walls are unanchored and they are welded with a weld constraint to the base, because this is the part that we're actually going to be tweening up and down. So these parts will just follow along with it. So it'll just look something like this. So now that this is complete, we can just take our game model and drag it all the way down to our Crazy Colors script, and now we can start scripting. Now we have part of our Crazy Colors minigame. I first get the game model, I get tween service, and I get some tween info for when the divider moves up and down, and then some variables for the total amount of rounds players will have to survive and the time they get to choose between which color they want to stay on. And then we have our function for running the minigame. And also, while scripting this, you can just go to your Lava Rising script and literally copy this lava touched function, because it's going to be the exact same thing for when players touch the lava, and just paste it right here. So now we have our setup for the game. We first cloned the game model, and I also get a few variables for the divider base and the colors model, and I get the children of it. Then I set its parent to workspace, and I connect the lava to the event, the touched event, and I connect it to our lava touched function that I copied from the Lava Rising script. Then I make our close and open tween, which this is the tween that we play when we want to close the divider and not allow players to switch between their colors. And then the open tween, which allows people to move around. And I just set the C frame to 25 studs above its normal C frame. And then I use our teleport function, and then I teleport them to the red C frame plus 5 studs, so they're not in the part. And red really doesn't matter. You can change it to green or something else, but we just need the players to spawn in. And make sure when you're calling your teleport players function that you give it the second argument of true, so that it won't teleport any AFK players to the game. And then I just switch the game status value to avoid the chosen color. And now we can actually run our game. So this is how our round is going to go. First, we make this for loop, so whatever this number is, this will run that amount of times. Then we just have a countdown saying how much time the player has left to pick a color and what round it is. Then we close the doors and we wait for that animation to play, plus 1 second. Then we choose a color and make the divider base's color equal to that color. Then we make the chosen color parts can collide to false, and we change its transparency to 1, so it'll look like it disappears and players will fall through the part. Then we wait 3 seconds so everyone can fall through, and then we switch the can collide back to true, and we change the chosen color's transparency back to 0. Then we play the open tween so everyone can go back to choosing what color they want to do next. And for this next part, we can once again go to our Law of Arising script, and just this whole end of game section, we can just copy it, bring it over, and wait, this is the wrong script. Bring it over and just paste it, because this is just going to work the exact same as normal. It's just going to go through all the winners and anyone who didn't die, put their name onto a text saying who the winners are, and plus their wins by 1. And then it'll destroy the game. So while testing to see if the game works, I've noticed a bug that players could exploit to get points even if they lost. So when they die, their player model is still in the in-game folder until they have respawned, which means if they've died and then the game decides who the winners are, it could still think they are a winner. So inside the Crazy Colors script, I'm just going to also check to see if the player character's health is above 0. And also, I would like to just take this whole bit of script we have right here and turn it into a module function so we can use it across different scripts. And anytime we change something, we don't have to change each and every script. Because if I didn't do that, then I'd have to go to Lava Rising and change it here. And if we had multiple game modes and we found another error, then it would be pretty painful to go to each script and copy and paste it. So I'm just going to into server storage, add a module script, and I'll just call this basic ending. And then I'm going to delete this and make our function. And then I'm just going to copy and paste this code right here into our basic ending function. And then I'm just going to return the function just like we did with teleport players. And then next I'm going to go into our game handler script, and even though we're not going to use the basic ending function in this script, I'd like to handle it from here, so I'm just going to make a variable for our required function. And now with that, we can go into our Crazy Colors script and do _g.basic_ending. And so everything that we already had written out will just run again. And we can go into our Lava Rising script and just put it right here. Now, the reason I called it basic ending is because if we have like a team game or something like that, or maybe players are going to still be alive or in the folder, this function might not work every single time, but in most scripts and most things that we're going to have, it's going to work. So it's just best to make it its own function usable across all the different scripts. But with all this, if we now run our game again and we want to test everything out and check the wins and everything like that, choosing the game, Crazy Colors have been chosen, and now I have to just avoid a color. And I also switched the round to just 1, so I don't have to wait forever, and it's a lesser chance of dying. You can see that yellow has been chosen and I have won the game, and I've been rewarded 1 win, and we get teleported back. We can also show that the random system still works, so I can put this back into our minigames folder, and now we have 2 minigames to play. We can have Lava Rising or Crazy Colors. So it looks like Lava Rising has been chosen, and now we can play this game just like normal, as we always would. Now, this game's about to end, and we've won the game with 1 extra win under our belt. Also, if you would like, this would be a good opportunity to go watch my leaderboards video and add it into your game so players will be able to see who has the highest amount of wins. If this video helped, please make sure to like and subscribe. And if you have any other video ideas, leave those down in the comments. And go check out the video on your screen right now if you want to learn how to make a good looking coin system with a GUI. Thanks so much for watching.